electives mid-year, because that's a 2-hour block. Not only that, but they're not gonna have the option, I'm assuming, of getting 2 credits for that class. Because it's gonna go down to 1 hour, because they're gonna need a, half hour, 45 minutes to get there, and then they're gonna be in the seat 1 hour.
The trade-off for them is the 5th hour becomes the transportation or the transit time.
Yeah.
The trade-off is the 4 college credits that they pick up.
By still continuing to go to the Friday CNC
No,
Lab.
in addition to, because the Baker Spring semester offers 4.
So are they done with the Friday thing
No.
then come, so they get to do, in addition, I see what you're
Right.
saying.
And so, I don't know, I don't know.
Yeah.
4 of them, 5 of them may continue, 6 of them may continue. I know when Shelley and I talked, and of course the board and I gave this some consideration, when we've done dual enrollment in the past, which technically this would be, it's a college class, our students have gone to take maritime mathematics at NMC. He drove himself. Our students who go to Boyne City for culinary provide their own transportation.
I guess what I feel bad about for these kids is it didn't start out that way. They didn't
Right.
know
Oh,
that.
of
So
course.
that's the tough thing. I feel like the
Yeah.
rug's kind of getting pulled out from underneath them. And hey, now if you want to continue the class, you got to go to Charlotte Way.
Right.
That's my concern for them.
Right. I agree.
Yes.
I think there's been some really great input from the staff and the teachers, and I wonder how the board might have been affected had they met with them previously. And I wonder, going forward now, will you consider meeting with everyone to get this kind of input, or are you expecting to glean it through the Ben and Shelley? How will you really listen to these folks, is what I guess I'm asking. I mean, do we have to have an emergency to bring them in every time,
Yeah,
or?
we did start something, and it kind of, we haven't done it in a while, but we were having some board breakfasts with some teachers. And I think Tim Vanderhart had initiated that, and we did that for a while and had a lapse in time. So we were initiating some communication pathways for board and members and staff. And we've heard that that's worked really well at other school districts, I think possibly Petoskey and so forth. So that would be something, I think, with the new board coming on board, to reconsider that and talk about whether that's thinking that's useful.
I would suggest contacting Gus. When he was here and we were having these budget issues, he put together groups, forums of teachers, community. I mean, it was, everyone had input, and then it would take care of what Mrs. DeForest was even talking about, that parents knew what was happening in the budget defaults, and everyone had a say. It didn't mean that's what the board did, but everyone had some input so that everyone was getting valid information, I guess. I'm sure he would help us.
The problem, Bridget, has been that this came up so quickly.
Right, but
This
talking
right now,
about,
I
we're
mean,
gonna
we're
have
talking
cuts
about
next year as well.
Talking about the spring planning and budget planning, then I'm hopeful that the new board will certainly look at all the suggestions that you've had and act on some of them, but this was not possible to do that. It's a decision that had to be made relatively quickly. And we asked our administrators as a board to come up with some ideas. We brainstormed with them, we came up with some ideas. There wasn't enough time to meet with all these groups that you're talking about. There will be for the, the budget planning in the spring for next year, I'm sure.
Well, and I think it's also important that, last week's meeting was, before that, the Friday before, we had the forum. And, so we've tried to have, and we didn't know all information when we met. But, we have tried to have a couple of special meetings to, let you guys have input and so forth. It didn't all play out perfectly, but we have tried.
I think last week, I kind of thought was the meeting where people were talking. No actions were taken.
Have we contacted Sharam to help us? I mean, we have the potential, we keep talking about the potential we have to raise money now, but we have the potential to create a balanced budget, and we've struggled to do that the last 2 years. I mean, has anyone contacted Sharm to get an accountant in to help us create a budget we can stick to?
Well, I think part of that budget is the new out of formula thing that Ben's spoken to, is that, you know, we were given a budget, but this is how much, we don't get money from the state anymore.
Right.
So all that money, they told us, this is what you have, so that's in July, that's the budget we made. And then had to pay out, what, 24,000, and then 10,000, I think, at one time, and now 44,000, so it's
But
really been.
someone from Sharm helped us with that budget, like who has helped other schools
Well,
with
I
that?
believe that Jeff Kraus, who you all probably know, he and Ben are in contact quite often, or at least from Ben's, reports to us, you know,
Yeah, the budget shortfall this year of the 44,000 aside, the 5,300 we're out of balance is 0.002% off the 2.409 million. I can't imagine sticking tighter to the budget as far as where we were at this point in the year. Now, that said, you get a curveball of 44,000. You know, and someone said earlier, we budgeted to the top, and there is one underlying reason why. Maximize the dollars that go into the classroom in front of kids. Maximize the staff with the fund you have. There are other ways to budget. You can budget, you know, and take your 2.409, assuming that's your full amount, let's just say that's next year's amount, and say we're gonna pull 5% off of that off the top. And that means more reductions going into the next school year. But the 5% or the 8% or whatever the operational figure is that the board, you know, wished to have, money either going back in the general fund or rainy day fund, so to speak. You know, I think for some time now, you know, whether it's adding the drafting back or whether it's expanding the music program or looking to make sure we maximize the effectiveness of mathematics and cut class size by having, you know, the differentiator, the level program with another instructor. I think the board has approved budgets that have given clear indication that is the priority, and that's where we're investing money. So a $44,000 setback mid-year means you gotta pull back on that, unfortunately. So.
Sue, the staff has a couple of fundraisers in the works between now and the middle of December. Of course, at this point in time, it's kind of a guess how much money those things may generate. Is the deadline to make a difference, or to make an impact with the fundraising, is that January 26th? Like if we don't know what we're gonna come up with. Let's say we come up with $5,000, $10,000 or more. Is there still the opportunity between now and January 26th? Or we're talking changes that greatly affect kids and parents have to be notified. You know, is there a point in time where it's a done deal? Or just how does that all, do you envision that working?
I think without a separate meeting, which you could have, the January board meeting is, well, so Monday the 12th is the regular meeting for the month of January. You could schedule a meeting the week after if you
So
had
we
a
would
reason
have,
to.
you know, this is something a little new for us in terms of how we go about doing this, but would we just come to you on January 12th and say, hey, we raised this amount of money, and then you decide how that's,
Carrie, I would say January 12th is late to do it, if we're going to affect a difference for the, you know, January 26th. I would say if you, as soon after Christmas vacation as you could. I mean, I would think that you would need to have, you would need to have that money there to look at, affecting any of these changes.
But we wouldn't know yet, so let's say we made $10,000. Then would that be added to like the 12 cushion, is that what you guys voted for, the 12?
Right.
Okay, would that be added to it, so then we had a 22 cushion, or would that, I mean, I'm curious about that too, because if it was a 22,000 cushion, well, that could change a lot of things. Or would it be given to, so we didn't have to use the 12?
No, well, I think the motion makes it clear that we're gonna take a look at the revenue that's there. Right now, that's 15,000. If there's additional revenue, then I think it's gonna be up to me and Shelley to sit down and scratch our heads about, okay, what's the most effective use of that money to support mathematics, to support drafting, to support, are there other iterations that aren't on the table right now that may come up, that may be an option? So I would look at that money as additional money, based on the way the motion was approved. I'm seeing a couple head nods.
Yeah, I mean, if it's gonna further minimize impacts on kids.
I don't think
the
anyone
board
would say,
likely
if, let's,
that
to use your example, if a deposit of 10,000 came in, I don't think someone would say, okay, it's not 10 plus a potential of 12, it's pull the 10 out of the 12, I think it would be added on. That's the way I take the motion that was approved, so. Good question.
Well, and option two is, I mean, you guys are totally, staff is taking the bull by the horns, and I commend that. I mean, that's a fantastic movement. Would it be possible if you guys could get together and come up with a recommendation for that money? See, if you raise 10, 20, let's go for $100,000, all right? And you can say, this is what you could use to that, and then this is how it could affect. I mean, I guess that's the way I look at it.
On that note, do any of you have anything you'd like to donate to the silent auction? Good, because you were on my list.
Melanie's already on there twice.
When is it selling these?
December
All
9th.
right, I have a crash there on Saturday. You bring them over and I'll get it.
Where's the silent auction?
Where's the teacher?
December 9th in the high school cafeteria. It's a night of the JV, or a night of the Central Lake Ellsworth basketball game. It'll start at 5 o'clock, and we're all pounding the pavement.
The band will play some.
Well, I have to tell you guys that you did a terrific job of getting these things organized so quickly, because it is essential that happen quickly, and I'm impressed. I read about the wreaths, and
I just wanted to add, Carrie, too, that when we talk about our expectations of administration, at least my expectation is that some grant writing and some big creative thought on how to view the future is part of the job description for administration. Because I see this as a problem that's not going away quickly and that could resurface. And so, I mean, it's great that your staff is doing it, but it's an expectation of me as a board member that administration is doing it too.
And then already next, everybody's busy.
is there any more comment before we close?
Well, a challenge on that is maybe each board member should come up with something to donate to the auction. So, not that, it's easy for me because I have at the store, but well, all right, I think like, Sue and I could team up together to cook somebody dinner or something like that, something like that, and something, or Tracy and I could.
Something
we go on.
I like lobster.
I can't choose desserts before the 10th of the
I mean, so maybe afterwards, maybe we should do fruit, so we could come up with something.
I need a bathroom cleaner.
Or maybe babysitter.
If you come up with something, contact any staff member. We have a spreadsheet we're all working off of that we're putting things on there. So you can see any one of us and we'll add it on.
But here's a good idea, go down your Facebook friend list, I did it last night, and look at everyone on your Facebook friend list who you think could do something for the cause. I was able to get a friend donate a $9,000 Cayman Island week stay for this auction. So, but it was just because I went through my list and it was like, oh my gosh, they have a
She knows
condo
people.
in the Cayman Islands. Yeah, okay, so everyone come and bid on that one. But, I mean, it was only because I was going down my list of friends and I thought, hey, I'm gonna nail that person, and thank God they were able, but go through your list of friends and hit them up for, I said, in a couple, I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm being bold, but, and it came up, so go through your friends tonight and see what they might be willing to do.
Okay, if there are no more comments, I will have a motion to adjourn the meeting at, or what you're doing for 49.